Hello, good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to the 9th webinar of Voice of Achievers. Today, it is going to be a very special day, not only to each one of you, but also you can contribute to youngsters at home and friends and relatives. You will find it so interesting towards refreshing our life values. I assure you on that. There cannot be anyone in the audience today who have not heard of the legend Dale Carnegie. He revolutionized the human relations with his mind-blowing book of How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a revelation to live a life full size, king size. Dale Carnegie has spread his thoughts through training many stalwarts from all over the world. His institution is spread all over the world and plays a big role in self-development. Now, a lion of a person who has got trained from this institute returned to India and started to spread the message in the year 1982. He is Aparesh Acharya, a great legend himself, Aparesh. The way he conducts classes is amazing. He literally used to be on his toes and jump in the class while imparting training, and I have been a lucky one to be there, witnessing all those wonderful days of MILT that I went through. His eyes would penetrate looking into everyone, and that used to be for 4 years of furious enthusiasm, I should say. Way back in 1985, 35 years ago, MILT happened in my life when my younger brother Ramani introduced me to MILT. I'm happy to see you, brother Ramani. You are amongst the audience today now.
Hi, Shankar.
Yeah. My family is a MILT family, as both my brothers and most of their family are Miltonians too. Those were the joyous days, I will say, closing my eyes. Some of my best friends today are through MILT. The bondage is better than any araldite glue, I would say. For those of you who wonder what MILT is, there is, amongst audience, there are newcomers as well there, other than the Miltonians. So those of you who wonder what MILT is, it's the short form of McGrath Institute of Leadership Training, an offshoot of Dale Carnegie Institute, USA. Friends, one gets qualified in college and enter the society to face challenges. They take up jobs and face new conditions while handling instructions from higher authorities, in seeking cooperation of colleagues and so on. Those who have brilliant ideas to start business too will need to know the art and skills of handling customers, vendors, team of employees and so on successfully. Most of us require not only the knowledge, but most importantly, the skill to face situations and the circumstances effectively. MILT makes you to do things rather than to get to know of things. This is one of the biggest difference between your educational institutions and MILT program. Today, friends, we are going to hear from the successor of Aparesh. If Aparesh himself has chosen this successor, he must be another lion too, isn't it? He is today the accredited trainer of MILT Training Foundation and founder of IDJ Associates. Another hot chili, 1,000 walls of energy reservoir, and of course, a leader who lives by what he trains. A person who has close to 3 decades of experience conducting workshops, seminars, and training interventions on personal development. Selling skills and managerial leadership skills come to him very naturally on the premise of behavioral science. This person is also the author of several books on management and self-development, including Connecting, Understanding, and Motivating People. This great man has trained over thousands of aspiring youngsters to lead a life of joy and celebrations over the last 30 years. What an achievement and what a contribution to the society. Wow. Many more laurels to his credit include conducting workshops for corporate giants such as Britannia, Pfizer, and so on. The list is big. Friends, let me have the joy of introducing the guest of honor of today, the accredited MILT trainer in India, Daniel Jekka. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the 9th webinar of Voice of Achievers.
Thanks a lot, Mani, for this wonderful introduction. Right. So, Mani, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been nice to connect with you after so many years, because when I came to MILT in 1988, and you are already there, and it's also nice to see a lot of Miltonians over here who are from that era when Operation started the program. We have got VG Krishnan, we have got Zawahir.
Wow, Krishnan is here, great. Zawahir is here, great.
Okay. So it's been nice to connect with all of you through you, Mani. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to show you a surprise, boss. You see, this is the MILT certificate, you know, I got in 1985. I preserve it like a golden plate in my house and you know, it's such a wonderful thing I have. Takes me back to 30 years of our association, and looks like it just happened just the other day. Danny, you know, let's start our discussions. And I want to ask you, what attracted you to MILT in the first place? And why did you join MILT in the first place? Can you share some of your ideas with us?
See, basically, I was a very introverted person, very shy, probably couldn't even read a paragraph in the classroom, very introverted, but deep within me, I felt that I certainly had the energy. So therefore, it was at this point in time when I really wanted to express myself and not able to express myself. So somewhere when I was doing college, I used to see people talking so effectively on stage, but whereas I couldn't even read a paragraph. So that was the time a lot of conflict was going within me. I felt I should do some program to get myself out of this inhibition. Probably I was telling people I stammer, but it was more of fear that was holding me back. So just thinking what to do. It was at this point in time, a good friend of mine, R. Surya Kumar, who did MILT in the year 1987. And he took me to his graduation when he became a Miltonian. And there I saw a mad set of people in a 5-star hotel in Taj, Connemara, absolutely boisterous and loud and enthusiastic. I was feeling out of place there. The reason is I couldn't be part of them. So I joined the MILT program. And I tell you, that program was a real a turning point in my life, I can say, because after that I shed my inhibitions, and today for the past 30 odd years I'm going around motivating people, training people. So therefore it was my inhibition, my introvertedness that wanted me to get out of it, and today that's one of the reasons I've joined, and it has certainly helped me to a great extent. And today my profession is based on such a brand, and also I've been taking this baton from Operation Acharya.
Did you ever think that you'd one day take over from Operation and to be his successor?
No, Mani, not in my wildest of dreams. Okay, I basically wanted to talk in front of crowd. I wanted to be confident, but these MILT alumni gave me such a platform. So when I was attending the MILT alumni, you know, one thing good that Operation did was not only did he conduct a training program and leave, he also gave a platform for people to continuously grow. I think that's a great process and justice he did, because we know there are so many programs that is there, we attend and we go away. But Operation ensured that there is a training continuity happening. So therefore these alumni were there, and I got into MILT. In fact, my good friend VG Krishnan is here. I always give this example. I told VG, because he was in my HR group, and I told him, boss, I'm feeling so excited about the whole thing. Suggest me a course after this. VG told me very beautifully, he's in the audience. VG told me, Danny, you don't have to do any course, stay in MILT. And I took his words. Whether he was in MILT or not, I don't know. But I took his words, I stayed in MILT, and today MILT has given me that platform. So when I was giving talks on the forum, people said, Danny, you got it in you to become an Operation Acharya. So therefore, I never had any idea of becoming a trainer. I didn't even know there was a profession like that existing. But when I was giving these talks, there are veterans over here. We have Shivakumar Reddy, he passed away. And all these people said, Danny, we see an Operation Acharya in you. I said, that really motivated me. And then I took up this training. And then a little later, after many years, Apresh found out that I'm conducting training program. And he said, man, I'm glad that you're taken up training. He gave me a word of caution. He says, you as a trainer growing up and you as an individual, how are you? If you as a trainer and the individual can grow together, that is what is training. Otherwise, anybody can vomit what they hear, but living what you hear is what is important. So therefore, I think MILT gave me the platform, and today I can't believe that I'm taking over operation. I'm doing these programs. It's a dream come true. If
I guess you must have seen something very striking in Operation. Have you picked up any one great quality in him that which really influenced you in taking up after him?
See, when I saw Operation, he was a colossal of a person. The way he walks into the class.
I know, yes. Oh my God.
It was such a might, you know. Even today, when I walk,
dynamite, as he would used to say.
In fact, even as I walk in the class today, this man's image comes into me. And every time when I loosen my guard down, his image comes into me. And I never seen a dull moment with him. He was probably sick. And his quality of time, I think that is a hallmark of his. He always challenges people. He says time, self-discipline is the master key to the go down of success and happiness. That's a great takeaway. Self-discipline is the master key to the go down of success and happiness. So if you want to be successful and happy in life, self-discipline is the key. And I saw that trait in him of being committed and being on time. The sessions used to start at 6 p.m. in the evening, and I would see him in the hall at 4:45, 5 o'clock. In spite of him having 25 years of experience and the content inside him, I would see him there. And one of the statements that Apresh used to make, I can never forget. He says, if I tell you I'm there in a particular time, and if I'm not there, you can bet I'm dead and you'll be right. Okay, so these are some of those great inputs that went into me. And today I've taken up that banner of MILT, and I'm ensuring to do the level best to see I can live up to the values and the ideals that Apresh set out to. Yes, man.
You know, what I like most of Apresh, that he used to say, knowing is not doing, man. Doing is doing. If knowing was doing, India wouldn't be so populated today.
I think you put it in a very polished manner. If you had to put it in Apresh's manner, then probably people will say, what is happening to the Zoom meeting? Okay. That's Apresh that never minced words. One good thing about him is that everybody will remember something. I was talking to Apresh just the other day. I told him about this meeting. He said, Apresh, people will never forget you for two things. Either the kicks that they got from you, or they got for elevation in life. So either people sulk because of you, or people excel because of you. You can never be written away in people's life. That's what I told him. It was nice that he called me up a day back. He calls me off, and I do call him as well. And when he called me, I told him that, and it's nice for him. He's now 84, 85 years, pretty weak, but his energy is very strong. He's still trying to hold his grounds. These are amazing qualities, because what I saw him tell in the class and what I see him right now is the same. He never made money for himself. All through his career, he was empowering people. He probably left his family behind. He was traveling to so many places, and staying put for 7 weeks is not easy. Today, I also travel, but in between, when there's no class, I fly down and fly out. But he was traveling at a time when there was no telephone connections, nothing whatsoever. So he dedicated his life, and today we are all Miltonians. We have been trained by him, and he's also started a social project. If at all MILT is still sustaining, it's because of the social project. And today, that social project. So he said in life, live a swanky lifestyle, and what you cannot consume should go back to the society. How true it is. He lived a life like that. He never hoarded any money. And today, in his old age, his sons are there. Miltonians are there in big numbers, and Snehalia boys are there. So one thing I like about him is that whatever he said, he lived by it. And that is what is the hallmark of a great person. Money.
Yeah. Just recalling what we said about doing is doing. And in order to make sure that doing is doing, we need to have the functional and attitudinal skills. Danny, can you explain what we really mean by attitudinal skills? Can you give us some insights? People try to learn so many things. They come out of colleges, institutions, highly qualified, but this attitudinal skill is what something is very vital, as we understand. Put some insight into that, please.
Okay, now one of the things that Aprish used to say that I'm now continuing to say is that Aprish used to talk about these two sets of skills that we all have. One is called the functional skills, which we come into this world. That means all our education, all the hard skills that we learn, be it engineering, be it doctor, being an architect, being a lawyer, being a software engineer, all these are enabling us to function. So therefore, they are called as functional skills, which you acquire, which is hard skills. And people are very much aware of it. But attitudinal skills are the ones you are born with. We bring from the womb of the mother, and it's called as attitudinal skills because it helps us to sharpen our attitude. So attitudinal skills are the ones you are born with. For instance, what does a child do the moment it's born?
Cries.
It cries. So therefore, cry was an expression. People, the child got the attention of people, and they found out what the child needed, and it was attended to. And as the child grew up, then it started to express, articulate the sound and the words, and started to express. So therefore, crying is nothing but an expression. Today we are using it as a communication. Today we want something, we don't cry, we ask. It's an expression. So therefore, communication is a skill we are born with. It's an attitudinal skill. So therefore, one needs to work on their communication skills. Why do we need to work on, though we are born with? Because it is said till the age of 18, depending on the environment a person is growing, that skills grows on automatically till 18. After that, one has to put a conscious effort. And so therefore, training is a must to develop communication skills going forward. You would have seen even in the village side, when a TV reporter goes and shows the microphone to the villagers, you find the way they talk and the way a 7-year-old kid talks, it is the same maturity level. The reason is that they never had an opportunity to know that the skills has to be sharpened. But you and I and all the people who are gathered here, we are sharpening our skills. So therefore, we need to put a conscious attempt to sharpen attitudinal skills. And memory is also an attitudinal skills we are born with. And there are other attitudinal skills like interpersonal relationships. For instance, if you see a small child, it's running around and mingling with people. So therefore, these are very, very important skills, be it interpersonal skills, communication, or memory skills. These are called as attitudinal skills. And very shortly, it's been said as soft skills. They brush it out saying it's a soft skill, but it's called as attitudinal skills in MILT because sharpening which sharpens the attitude. And with the hard skills that we have, attitudinal skills certainly helps to a great extent. So many a time we are all focused on hard skills only. You will find so much of money being spent by parents to give the children the best of education. It's fine. But after getting educated, is the person good enough? No. There are attitudinal aspects missing. For instance, self-confidence is not there. Enthusiasm is not there. Being in the field of this training for 30 years, I can tell you, one skill that we really all need to work on is our attitude and attitudinal skills. Once that keeps growing, then our functional skills becomes better. So therefore, I want to ensure that people understand the importance of attitudinal skills and not give just importance on functional skills. Today, we make children study. Now, how many first rankers and state rankers are high in life? It's only people who have got the attitudinal skills sharpened are doing exceptionally well in life. So I firmly believe that one has to develop. Functional skills are certainly needed, but what we need is an attitudinal skills, both of which is going to complement a person for greater growth and greater achievements in life.
Talking of memory skills, what you just mentioned, I recall Apresh used to demonstrate calling someone who has come there to attend the introductory session. He would make them to recall about 15 to 20 things within a period of about 10-15 minutes. The sequential thinking which he taught us in form of pegging during the class. It's amazing, isn't it? And I know some of the guys who used to remember up to 100 items sequentially, and then they will go from 1 to 100 and 100 to 1, and then they'll skip all the odd numbers and even numbers. Amazing. And this is something which we learn in MILT and helps us to improve our memory skills. And the association technique is such a great thing,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Mani.
See, one of the best quotes I love of Dale Carnegie is, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. If you look around in the society, Danny, today, this is exactly what most people do not do. you see, they don't know how to get things done. When, for example, if they want to come out of a room, there's a door. They can open the door and come out. Instead, they go try breaking open the wall to come out. Unfortunately, we do it not knowing what we are doing. How do you explain this to your students, and how do we understand this concept of, you know, we should not kick over the beehive when we want to gather honey?
See, basically, many people are groping in the dark. Okay. In fact, I was also a very hard worker. Okay, working very hard, but not going any further. No doubt, hard work was there, but I was not going any further. The reason is that we are all groping in the dark, and we are expending energy. But if only we can understand the light of life, the moment we can align our life, then life becomes absolutely a smooth sailing. For instance, Apresh used to talk about this example of a train coach that is derailed and it's being pulled by engine. It doesn't get momentum. So what one needs to do is to get on the rail, and then life becomes a smooth journey. So therefore, in all my experience in all these years, as many people would over here say, that alignment is very important. The moment I align, the moment I get to know this is how it has to be done, then my life becomes smooth sailing. So therefore, MILT is a program which Apresh has introduced to help people to find the right path and align. Then you will find you're not a hard worker, you're a smart worker.
Oh.
Many people are working hard. Okay, I see a lot of people working hard and not going any forward. The reason is that we are all putting an energy, but we are knocking at the wall rather than opening the door. So therefore, if we know the way how to get into the door, open the door, and then we find the same effort we put into knocking the wall, we are wasting energy. We can enter the door of growth and keep growing. So it's all about alignment. We need to know what is the priority and what is that we need to do. And then we find we'll be certainly on the right track, Mani.
Danny, likewise, the art of communication is very important. It's all about listening than about talking as well. Just would like to have some ideas of communication from you. And may I also request that maybe you can share some of the instances that must have happened in your class, interesting things which you can share with people as we go along.
Okay, now whenever we talk about communication, we generally think of talking. Okay, when we say I'm doing a communication training, that means it's more about talking and talking and talking. Well, communication is one part is talking and other part is listening. If you listen to all the great communicators in the world, you will find they are very, very good listeners. They only talk when the time comes to talk. Otherwise, they're constantly listening. Listening means being open, not being judgmental. The moment you're open, I look at the nature, I learn from the nature. I listen to the nature. I see a leaf fall and I learn from it. I see a bird flying, I learn from it. So therefore, when we say communication, it's not only to stand and express, it's also to sit down and listen. And as many great people that I've met, they are very, very good listeners. So therefore, listening is a very, very important component, because I've seen people want to express themselves, so they're talking. But one important thing is that being a listener is very important. And in MILT, we give a lot of importance, not only for people to become public speakers, though we train people on the ability to express. We tell them MILT is not a public speaking course. MILT is a program which is a personal development program wherein you develop public speaking ability. So therefore, MILT should not be considered as a public speaking institution. It trains people effectively on communication, no doubt. But one important emphasis that is laid is to help people to be a good listener and to empathize with the other. Having sympathy with the other is not what you want. Sympathy is ego. When you empathize, you feel the feeling of the other person. And that is very important. And in MILT, we have got this human relations group meetings. Many of the Miltonians over here, I see a few Miltonians over here, they will acknowledge the fact that human relations group meetings are a forum to listen only. For instance, let's say if V.G. Krishnan is talking about his life, we are going to listen to him. We are not going to interrupt him. If you're going to talk about your life, you're going to listen to him. Because one of the Dale Carnegie principles is, be a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves. So one of the greatest traits of a human being is that you need to be a good listener. Very jokingly, they say, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you've got to listen more and talk less. I think this is a great trait. If only all can pick up this trait, we would be great communicators. That means we can talk well. So here, I think this human relation group meeting is a great example where people sit and talk about their life for 5 hours, even going up to 18 hours, non-stop, and
Yes,
others are
yes.
listening. And they've been trained not to judge, not to evaluate, not to advise, not to give any comments whatsoever, just listen. Because this is a very, very important trait, and listening is a very important trait when it comes to communication, Money.
I used to wonder how has it been possible to keep on talking for about 7, 8 hours and listening to others talking so much. That trait automatically comes in without making big efforts of it when you are put into that human relations class.
See what happened when psychologists tell us an adult of the age of 18 and above can talk about his or her life for minimum of 5 hours.
Okay.
When an adult of 18 years can talk about his or her life for a minimum of 5 hours. So therefore, that means I don't have to philosophize my life. I just have to share the facts of my life, and 5 hours is what is expected. This is behavioral science. Whatever is done in MILT is not cooked up. It's not piecemeal. It's on the premise of behavioral science, and behavioral science says it. And even when I'm doing this online classes, I've created HR groups, human relations group. They meet in Zoom, and they come and tell me it is so nice that I can open up to people. Okay, amazing, isn't it? In fact, I was thinking how it will be working. But people tell me, Danny, thank you so much for this human relation group meeting. We are now a very close family. Now, this human relation group meetings are so powerful that people not even have opened up with their family, but they opened up with this human relation group. That's
Very
why
true. It happens, yes.
this becomes your first family, because family is transparent relationship with people. And now this becomes your first family, and having this family now, take it to your family and see how you can establish a relationship where you can listen to the other, accept the other, and where you can also be accepted by the other person. So therefore, these things of opening up life and being a listener and sharing about one's life is very important. You would have also heard about an organization called Sneha,
Yes,
where it's
yes,
more about
yes.
listening. See, people commit suicide, very sad every day when I read an article. It really saddens me that people are not being guided. By taking away their life, it's not going to help them. If only somebody had to listen to them, all this problem wouldn't have happened. And in MILT, we can tell you, we have stopped a lot of people from committing murder. We have stopped a lot of people from going to jail. The reason is simple, because they had so much of pent-up anger. And in the sessions, there are processes which helps them to come out. And there are these human relation group meetings to tell them, yes, we are there. You don't have to worry. So therefore, that initial support is given to them. Then they take off from their money.
Boss, many of the sayings of Dale Carnegie is very direct, and it is easy for us to appreciate. But one or two of his sayings, I always used to feel whether there is contradictions in that, which I would like to seek a clarification from you. And one such thing he says, the sure way to peace is to accept, adjust, and appreciate. Is it not a compromise at times? How can we look at it from a practical life situations? Do you want me to keep accepting, adjusting, and appreciating in spite of what I am or what others are?
See, I mean, this is a very, very, very simple formula. We call it as a 3A formula. Accept, adjust, and appreciate. I probably tell you this helped me a lot because I did MILT in 1988, 89. I got married. Okay. And for me, I wanted my wife to be as outgoing as me, but she's very introverted. Okay. And probably it could have also led into some marital issues, relationship problem. But this 3A concept of accept, adjust, and appreciate made all the difference in my life. And today I do conduct that in the class and share with them. So what does accept mean? You accept the other person as he or she is, because everybody has a uniqueness, have a unique quality. We need to accept them. Their behaviors are unique to them, might not be to you, but your behaviors are unique to you. So therefore, when you accept the other person as he or she is, you're giving that person a space to grow. In fact, I remember Apresh used to say, God is running a human boutique. He never duplicates his product.
Wow.
That means everyone is unique. There might be twins who look alike, but they don't think alike. So therefore, we need to accept the other person as he or she is. The moment we don't accept a person, if we have authority on the person, we use authority and we file them. Filing causes friction. And if you don't have authority over the person who's having authority over you, you sulk. Either way, you're miserable. So one of the important things to do is that to accept the other person as he or she is and give them a space to grow. Because no, I'm sure you wouldn't want anybody to infringe into your freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Into your rights. And similarly, the other person also wants it. So therefore, it became a great learning for me where I could accept my wife for the strength she has. And today she has accepted me for what I am. And today, 30 plus years of life, we are certainly having a great life together. The reason is that we are learned to respect the differences and appreciate the similarities. So that's about accept. Now, what is adjust? Adjusting to the likes and dislikes of the other person. Now, there are certain likes and dislikes of mine. There are certain likes and dislikes of other. My like might be a dislike to the other. So therefore, I forego my like to adjust with their like to ensure a harmonious coexistence. For instance, let me give you a simple example. Let's say I'm a non-vegetarian. I love to eat non-vegetarian. And let's say friends of mine who are here, who are with me on the dinner, they don't want anybody to eat non-vegetarian when they are there. But they have no objection. But the moment I see these people are feeling uncomfortable with me having a particular food, I forego eating that food because I have adjusted my likes and dislikes with the likes and dislikes of the other person to ensure harmonious coexistence. Now, does it mean that I've given up what I like? No, I would probably have my friends of that kind and I will enjoy what I want to enjoy. So therefore, here it is foregoing certain things to ensure a harmonious coexistence. So therefore, these are very powerful 3 A's. Accept the other person as he or she is, adjust to the likes and dislikes of the other person, and the third A stands for appreciate the appreciable points of the other person. Well, everybody has got some appreciable points. Can we appreciate the appreciable points? Or are we only looking at the negatives of people? So therefore, if you find something appreciable, say it. Because people, when they appreciate it, they grow from the platform of recognition. Recognition gives a platform for growth. So therefore, appreciate. And if you find nothing to appreciate, best thing is to be quiet. In fact, Aparesh used to give a good example. We can't forget this legend of a character called Aparesh Acharya. And he used to say when he's having food, he's so vocal in whatever he's doing. And when his wife has cooked him his food and serves food, he eats, he keeps on appreciating the wonderful food and the wonderful way his wife cooked. And there will be a time he will not say anything, but he'll eat it. Now his wife will understand there's something wrong with the food. Okay. So when there's something appreciable, we appreciate it. If it is not, we just keep quiet. I think it's a simple thing. Even if a person comes and serves you something, just appreciate them. Simple things, because people grow from the platform of recognition, and recognition is appreciation. You recognized a good point in a person, a trait in a person, and started working. So therefore, these 3 A's are very, very important, Money. Accept, adjust, and appreciate. Accept the other person as he or she is. Adjust to the likes and dislikes of the other person. Appreciate the appreciable points of the other person. The moment we can internalize this and it becomes our life, I can tell you, our life is absolutely aligned. These are fundamentals in relationships, Money.
And when you want to correct somebody, when you know that they are doing something wrong, it's not the question there as acceptance of whatever wrong they are doing. There you need to be uncompromising, isn't it?
See, what happened?
In
Why
trying
is a
to
person
put someone down when they are doing something wrong?
See, there are people who are doing certain things because of the ignorance. Okay, again, in the Dale Carnegie principle says, show respect for the other person's opinions, never tell a man he's wrong. The moment I tell you're wrong, I'm hurting your ego. So when I say you're wrong, you're going to activate your defense mechanism. But instead you say, sorry, I beg to differ with you. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So here, instead of hurting a person's ego, I know that there's a person who's smoking, let's say, and you know smoking is injurious to health. Here, I respect that person. But at the same time, I've got responsibility to the person to arouse in him an eager want. Here, I'm not using authority. Let's say my son is smoking. And as a father, I don't want to see my son smoking. If I tell my son, if I see you smoking, I'll break your bones for you. He's not going to listen to me. He's going to go out, change the street corner and smoke. But instead, if I can tell him the ills of smoking and how it's going to be injurious to him, make the person want to do what you want him to do, I'm sure the person will see the good. At least you have sowed the seed right now. So therefore, see, we can't close our eyes and go away, but there are ways to put things across. And the moment you can put things across, values are nothing but seeds, and this seed will one day germinate and grow. Many things of Aparesh Acharya I didn't understand when I was doing the program, but I gave him the benefit of doubt. And today I find what the seeds that he sowed in me are growing right now. because I allowed that seed to grow inside me. Yes, Mani.
Even during the class, if someone comes late by even 1 minute, he would not accept. He'll say, get lost. And he'll close the door on his face. I have seen that on couple of occasions. So that is not acceptance. That is non-compromise, if I'm right.
Yeah, exactly. See, what happened here, that which hurts is the one that instructs, isn't it? Because I've seen Aparesh Acharya being police cased. Okay. Income tax raids on him. Okay. Because he pulled up a top guy. He's not bothered in the class whether somebody is top or no. Here, you have come here to get trained. You better get trained. And he very clearly makes a point. You might give me 101 reasons why you're late. But he says there's only one reason why you're late. Because you allowed yourself to be late.
Excellent, excellent.
If you want to be in time, you're going to be there in time. Will you ever miss a flight to New York? If they tell you 3 hours before, aren't you there 4 hours before?
Yes, yes.
How is it? Because if you want to be in time, you can be in time. So there's only one reason why a person is late. Because you allow yourself to be late. So therefore, I think this is a very, very simple thing, and we need to ensure we hurt. In fact, our training programs are very tough. Okay, very, very tough indeed. We are very, very unpopular to start with, but going ahead. In fact, we also tell, initially you will dislike us, you will hate us, but you will love us more at the end of the program. So therefore, that phase of criticality is very important. At the moment they're shaken up, and then they feel, because it's all about habits being broken, and then they end of the program, they fall in love with us so much. The reason is that we have done good to them because certain ego and certain traits of them is limiting them. And this program is only opening up their blind spots so that understand and correct yourself and keep going. So Aparesh did that. Very tough man, very unpopular man in his days. Today he's becoming very popular because he's not talking.
No, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Because when he talks, he's a very, very unpopular man.
Yeah.
But right now, since he's not talking, everybody wants to see him. Everybody likes him.
Okay. And another thing is what Dale Carnegie says is smile. Yeah, it's good to smile, no doubt about it. It improves your face value. But is it possible to keep smiling always? Is it possible to keep smiling even in adverse situations? What is he saying? Should he not?
See, I see Amsa over here smiling, okay, and I see myself smiling, and there are a few people very serious, okay. Now, when we talk about smile, I think Ravisha, okay, it's okay, right? I see you smiling, okay, right? There are some smiles which can always be captivating. So when you smile, it adds to your face value, simple, okay. But what is smile? Smile is not something I express outside. Smile is something I'm joyous inside. Within me, there's a good chemistry that's going on. Okay. Good thoughts I'm processing. My intentions are good. So the moment that comes out, it comes out as a smile. So smile is not a corporate etiquette. If you get into an aircraft, these days you're not got into it for at least 2-3 months now. If you get into an aircraft, you will find there are these pretty ladies who hold their hands and they smile. And they serve you with a smile. And after that, the aircraft, when you get down and they're going, and if you see them on the lounge, they'll never even look at you. So what does it mean? I smiled because I've been trained to smile. But smile is something natural. It has to come from within you. So therefore, Mr. Carnegie has put it as a principle, no doubt. But here it means when your inside is joyous, when you're absolutely connected, when you're an aligned person, this joyous feeling of inside is what is expressed outside. So you might put on a smiling face, but inside, if you're sulking, it reveals. And when you're smiling inside, automatically the smile is going to come out. That's why there's old saying, your face is the index of your heart. So therefore, smile is not external. We are not going to practice smile. There's nothing called laughter, where you're told to laugh compulsively in a park. Okay, laughter comes and you walk in a park and you see all these beautiful birds chirping. Everything is so beautiful. You're happy within, you're tuned within. And smile becomes a natural flowering. That expression overflows and that comes, radiates on your face.
Hey,
yeah, Mani.
When again, you see, we meet with success, we meet with failures. Do you suggest that I still smile at myself when I meet a failure? How do I?
In fact, in Carnegie, there's a principle says, try to profit from your losses. That means there's nothing called a failure. There's nothing called a loss. Mm-hmm. Either I gain or I learn. Okay. The moment I say I'm a failure, that means what? You did something and you did achieve it. But haven't you learned something out of it? Now
Yeah,
that
certainly.
learning is the reward rather than the result that you're getting. In fact, let me tell you, sitting over here as a trader, I have failed many number of times. There are people who will watch for the hard work that I did. And I never gave up because I didn't see it as a failure. I was seeing how not to do a thing. I was saying how to do a thing better. And today, all this has only made me to become better. They say it's best to experience failure more than success. The reason is when you're failing, you're probably more grounded. So when I say failure, it's not that you failed. It's about you wanted to achieve something, you couldn't, and there's a block. Okay, now you try to circumvent it. And then you find there's nothing called failure at all. There's either you are gaining or you're learning. And so let's keep this in mind. We are never failing. Never get depressed that you failed, because failure is, they say, is a stepping stone to success. For me, failure is nothing but a learning. From that incident, what did I learn? From this success, what did I learn? So every time when I take a learning from that incident, I start to enrich myself and empower myself. So it's very important that we don't brand ourselves as failures. We don't brand anybody as a failure. For instance, my son is 20 years now. And never in my class have I seen him get promoted easily at all. Okay. And nor was I easily promoted. I was only promoted warning. From 6th standard to 10th standard. Today, am I anywhere less? The very school which looked at me down today called me some years back to give a talk. And my son, I mean, he's got some problem. So I didn't push him at all. And today he studies in one of the best colleges in Chennai. He studies in Lila College, where I couldn't even enter the Lila College.
Okay.
And this guy failed. Only time he passed all the papers is his 10th standard exam. Before that, he was only single digit mark, 0, 1, but I was with him. I said, man, my son is my son. If I have not studied well, so he's not studied well, but certainly he's going to come up in life. So I never pushed my children, and today my daughter is doing very well and my son is doing very well. So therefore, I never branded them. Okay, now what is that you learn from here is more important. So therefore, nothing called failure. It's a situation. You need to accept the situation, learn from it, and keep going.
So it makes sense to even keep smiling inside, internally, inwardly, even at the face of failures in life, so that you have the courage and confidence to go on further and take on further challenges in life. So that smile is required in you always, whether it is success or failure. And how do you handle, you see, how much ever we do things in life, but there's always we keep listening, we keep facing some unjustified criticism here and there, and which pulls us down, which tells upon our levels of confidence. I know, we have to treat them as a, hidden compliment, but how is it easily done than said?
See, now we need to understand what this criticism is all about, okay? In fact, behavioral science has done a lot of research, and they found out there are only 2 kinds of criticism. One is just criticism, and another is unjust criticism.
Okay.
When somebody is giving you a just criticism, that means they're giving you feedback. See, what is criticism? A malice in your feedback. When I say, I can tell a person, you need to improve your work. I can say, you're an idiot, you're not improving yourself, improve. That is criticism. But when a feedback is given with malice, it is criticism. But when a feedback is given genuinely, it is not a criticism. So therefore, from that context, if you see, there are only 2 kinds of it. One is just criticism, and another is unjust criticism. When somebody criticizes me justly, I correct myself because I'm open to growth. I'm open to learning. So therefore, I correct myself. I say, thank you so much, Karthik, for that feedback. I certainly appreciate it. Shailendra, that is a good feedback. I appreciate it. So therefore, I correct myself. Okay. Now, so just criticism is not a problem. Now, what about unjust criticism? Now, let me tell you, when do people criticize you? When you're succeeding or when you're failing?
Well, in both cases,
When you're succeeding only, they criticize you too much. And see, if you're failing, it's just criticism.
Yeah, it's just criticism.
But
yeah.
when people are criticizing you when you're succeeding, it's an unjust criticism. That means they're not able to accept your success and they're criticizing you. It's a disguised compliment. It's a backhanded compliment. So therefore, we say unjust criticism is often a disguised compliment. Because nobody ever kicks a dead dog. Nobody ever throws stones on a barren tree. Only when a tree is fruit giving, they throw stones on it. So therefore, all these criticism that comes to you because you're succeeding,
Wow, that's a fantastic
you
example.
need to take it as a compliment, because that means you are a fruit-bearing tree, and you're alive. So nobody will ever kick you, and people will not kick a dead dog. You're not dead, and you're not a barren tree. You're a fruit-giving tree. So therefore, when people criticize it, take it as a disguised compliment and keep moving ahead in life. So therefore, just criticism is not a problem. Unjust criticism is also not a problem. Unjust criticism is people are jealous of you and they're criticizing you. So therefore, take it as a disguised compliment.
And if we have done really something wrong and someone criticizes it, it is better that we admit it quickly and emphatically, isn't it? So that we don't do this mistake again, and we reveal it to the world that, look, I have done this mistake and I'm not going to do it again. And so when such mistakes are likely to be done, you are cautious about it internally.
Yeah, absolutely. See, when I'm a person who is open to growth, okay, I'm not going to be defensive in my approach. When I'm open to growth, I'm willing to listen to appreciations and criticisms. So therefore, when somebody tells me certain things, which I feel which I then again introspect and find it is not right. So therefore, I admit my mistakes quickly and emphatically. So therefore, it's a mistake. See, therefore, the greatness of a person is your ability to admit your mistakes quickly and emphatically. But many people don't do it. They only beat around the bush. I've seen players come out to the media and admit the mistakes. I've seen leaders come out to the media and admit the mistakes. But I've seen a lot of people don't admit the mistakes. And it is the arrogance of that individual. So therefore, if you are a really matured person, when you're wrong, you admit it quickly and emphatically. And when you admit your mistakes quickly and emphatically, you are a matured person. That shows your maturity. So therefore, it's not a weakness. It is your strength. Now, because if you don't admit your mistakes quickly and emphatically, it leads you into arguments.
So you
now, arguments are not healthy. In an argument, it is who's right. If you and I are right now arguing, now all these 78 people will go away. Okay, but here we are trying to find out what is the right point that we are trying to discuss. And probably there are points you want me to correct, the point that I want you to correct. So therefore, we are discussing. So discussion is healthy. Because in a discussion, it's important what is right. In an argument, it's important who's right. So therefore, we are not in this ego game. And if you find a discussion is getting into an argument, if you want to win an argument, the only way to get the best of it is to avoid it. They say in the battle of ego, it's better to land up on a losing side. Okay. And landing on a losing side, you are certainly a winner all the way. Okay, so therefore, these are very simple stuff. And the moment we do that, we are certainly going to have our emotional equanimity. I think there's a very powerful saying. We have heard of this book called Emotional Intelligence, right? V.G. Krishnan is a voracious reader of books. And you would know, and many of you all would know about Emotional Intelligence book written by Daniel Goleman. Okay, he's written this book called Emotional Intelligence. And all along, our scriptures are all emotional intelligence only. All scriptures are emotional intelligence. But when somebody in the 80s came and told you emotional intelligence, we all got it as a brand. And I remember in the 90s, somebody said in the corporate world, do you conduct programs on emotional intelligence? And then Apres started, right? We train people on emotional intelligence. From 70s, we have been training on human relations and emotional intelligence. But when Daniel Goleman brought in this concept of emotional intelligence, Apres said, we also train you on emotional intelligence. Because people are very interested on a branding. So therefore, I mean, this equanimity is very important. And I also ventured to write a book on emotional competence, because that's a time I was also going through a very, very low phase in my life because unexpected death in the family. My brother lost his only son in an accident. I was absolutely shattered. It's about 10 years back. I was absolutely shattered, you know. That's a time I was really looking at. And then I got out this book and dedicated to this boy called Michael John on emotional competence, where I spoke about the relationship tripod. For instance, tripod has got 3 legs, it gives a balance.
Yeah.
So similarly, the moment we have a relationship tripod, then our emotions are balanced. Like for instance, there's a camera and the camera is balanced because of the tripod, and the tripod has got 3 legs. So there are 3 components in a emotional relationship, emotional equanimity. One is I relate with myself, I and myself. Very important. Each one of us should accept ourselves for what we are, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything of us. That means I'm strengthening one leg. And now I establish relationship with the other, I and the other. That means I accept people for what they are. And then I accept the third leg is the situation. Right now, it's an unusual situation for about 3 months now. We're on lockdown. So much of things are changing. So therefore, how do we taken up this situation? How are we facing the situation? So therefore, your ability to relate with yourself, your ability to relate with people, and your ability to handle situations, whatever it might be. And that is what is a relationship tripod, and our emotional equanimity is going to be there. So I firmly believe emotional intelligence or emotional competence is very, very important while dealing with our own selves and dealing with people and dealing with situations. Yes, Mani.
Great. Well, what came to my mind is talking of argument. You were saying that we can always win an argument, but we'll end up losing a friend if you try to do things on an argumentative manner. But whenever we do some mistakes, people, you say that it is out of arrogance that people do not accept their mistakes. Maybe it's also due to their ignorance. They don't know that they have to accept their mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so the ignorance also plays a very important role, and that's where the MILT training helps them in understanding what they ought to do when they commit mistakes in certain areas. After all, everyone is susceptible to commit mistakes. And when you do mistakes, you automatically develop some guilt feeling within you. And how do we come out of this guilt feelings? Some guilt feelings are small, some guilt feelings are big. It doesn't get erased from our heart for a long time, and someone has done some injustice to us, which we keep remembering for a very long time, and it always keeps pulling us down in whatever endeavors we do. I just want to get out of this guilt feeling within me. How do I do that, Danny?
See, now what happened? See, what is guilt? Guilt is, it's very, very bad. We say live life to the hilt without any guilt. Let's say I've done something wrong. And I have certainly done something wrong. Okay. Now I know that I have done something wrong and I correct myself. But the moment I keep on replaying that wrong within me and keep feeling myself bad, I'm not going to grow at all. I did a situation probably compelled me. It is my ignorance or my arrogance. I did it. And it's a mistake that I did. I need to correct myself and go beyond rather than keep thinking about it. Let's say I've stolen. Let's say I stole and somebody saw me picking the pocket. Okay, right? And I feel guilty about it. Now, if I keep on thinking of that incident, am I becoming better?
No,
I'm only creating a hole in my life. But instead, okay, I picked somebody's pocket. I should not have done that. I should be very careful about it. And I learn from that mistake and I grow. Forgive yourself first. In fact, as it rightly said, it's forgiveness is not delivering the other, it's delivering yourself. You forgive yourself for this act. And the moment I forgive myself for this act, I'm delivering myself. And if somebody has wronged me, it's not about forgiving them. Even if I've forgiven them, I've forgiven myself. Right? There's a beautiful concept in the Jain community. They call it as Michami Dugadam. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I not only forgive, I seek your forgiveness. If at all I have hurt you inadvertently, I seek forgiveness from you. So therefore, these are very important elements in life. Never feel guilty. Probably in a moment of weakness, you did something. Probably in a moment of arrogance or ignorance, you did something. Now that you know you did something wrong, correct yourself and keep going ahead rather than feeling guilty about it and accusing yourself and dying out of guilt. Okay, it really doesn't help you to grow because life is all about expansion. Life is all about experiencing. Life is all about going forward and not thinking of back things that happen and feel bad about it. We all have done mistakes. To err is human. To forgive is divine. And you are human to err and you are divine to forgive. Yes, Mani.
We have a wonderful session in MILT. When you pour out yourself of whatever guilt you have in your mind to a very well-meaning people, you get over that feeling of guilt, isn't it? That's a very nice way of sharing. That's where we share life with well-meaning good friends, which we always try to pick it up in MILT. Yeah, can you believe, Danny? It's almost 1 hour since we have been talking, and you know, when in the face of love, the time we don't realize that the time moves So I think we should be calling out for questions from the audience. And before that, I would like to ask you just one question. How would you explain love? What is love? Is it an emotion, or is it our being, or what is it?
Let's say if you want to experience love, February 14th is there. That is what love is being misconstrued to be. Love is not an emotion. It's not about I love you, okay, because of this. I love you because of that. Every time when there's because in love, it's no love at all. I love you, period. Okay, so for everybody else, when I say I love you, meaning there's some ulterior motive, there's a lust behind. But we say, MILT, love is not an emotion, love is an energy. Love is the most powerful of all energy, and everything that is created is love. So therefore, love is not merely an emotion, love is an energy. And it's a very, very powerful energy. And the moment we can experience it ourselves, then out of the fullness of ourself, it overflows. It's not about me loving you. It's all about me aligning myself. The moment I align myself with myself, I'm full of love. This love automatically overflows. APJ Abdul Kalam loved the people, loved the children. And out of his fullness of love, he went about reaching out to people. Mother Teresa, I was very fortunate to have met her in 1992 when I went to Calcutta for a MILT convention.
Wow.
That was 92. And when I went and saw that lady, man, I tell you, I was such an old, fragile person. She was nothing but a bundle of love. So therefore, and she gave love unconditionally. So therefore, unconditionality is very, very important. And love is an energy. Let's keep this in mind. We have to saturate ourselves with the love. We need to experience love as a noun. And then we go about experience love as a verb. But many a time we're trying to work on people, trying to love somebody without we experiencing love as a noun. So therefore, love is just not an emotion. Love is an energy. And we need to fill ourselves, saturate ourselves with love, and then reach out to people. Every word of yours will be love. Every action of yours will be love. Every thought of yours will be love. Every look at a person will be love. And that is what is life. So love is life and life is love.
Like,
so
can we say love is the raw material out of which the human beings are made, created? Absolutely. For that matter, this entire manifestation of the creator, whatever it is.
The creator is the first lover.
When you see your people who get trained graduating at the graduation function, I'm sure tears must be flowing out of your eyes, seeing how transformed they are in a short period of few weeks, and how much you have contributed in their lives. And you have been doing such a wonderful service to the humanity, Danny. I wish God gives you more strength and energy that you should carry on this mission. Well, friends, audience who have been listening to friend Danny, those who want to ask questions, floor is open to you. Please go ahead.
Latest techniques like emotional intelligence and emotional competence like that, we are not heard of so far, but you are explaining it very well, excellent speech. Latest, as Manishankar asked, what is the definition for love? That is also, we are very crisp, saying that it is energy. We are very much liking that. Thank you very much.
Amit Menon wants to ask you, in a negative environment situation, how can you handle in a positive and happy way?
You maintain your equanimity and be positive. And if you find the negative environment is overwhelming, then get out of that negative environment. You know what a catalyst is, which brings about a change without getting changed. So therefore, if you're so full of positivity, you can work with them, be in the environment and become, be the catalyst for change. If you're not able to, if you find your time is getting loosened out, you get out of the situation. Simple as that.
Whenever some situation is happening not suitable to us, or somebody is doing mistake, is it possible always? Because then that person is going to take advantage of that, and he will keep on doing that. We happen to accept all his mistakes.
Now, Karthik, what we can do is that when I say see things from the other person's point of view, now somebody is behaving very maturely. Okay, somebody is not cooperating. Now, if you see things from the other person's point of view, you will try to find out why they are doing, and accordingly you can work around with them. Okay, instead of you, see, there are certain people who don't agree, okay, very immature-ish there. So I'm trying to see things from their point of view. It doesn't mean I'm going to let it happen like that. It doesn't mean I'm not going to correct it. I work with them, as simple as that. So you certainly have to respect the individual, but you still have responsibility towards the individual. Amit is commitment towards what he was doing. Absolutely committed to what he was doing. His son was missing somewhere in Kolkata, and he was here in Chennai conducting the class. His brother died. He ensured the funeral services all taken care of, and he went and came and attended the class. Because when I look at him, I've seen his classes and all that. But what is that? Today's energy is so powerful. The reason is he's a very spiritually inclined person. Let me tell you, I was also talking today or yesterday to a person. If at all you want to impact people's life, you can't impact them with your empowering personality. It has to come from your spiritual domain. And if you can spend time in the seat of meditation, and then with that you start working, you will impact people. And Aparesh had it in him. You will find his 5 o'clock out. He's going out. I've been with him and staying with him. And 5:30, he gets into the prayer room, intense prayer. And then all these things you cannot question him at all. So therefore, these are some of the positive traits in him that's impacting people. Otherwise, I've heard much better talks from so many people outside. Much better talks and much more in a civilized manner. Not with Aparesh's words that he keeps using. After 10, 15 minutes, you'll feel uncomfortable listening to him. Okay. I've heard much better talks, but those people are only individuals right now. But Aparesh can build an institution because he was always looking at what can I do for that person to become better. That's it. Yeah. And today, everybody is now doing something for him. So therefore, these are the traits that I saw in Amit. His personality and his empowering spiritual personality. And then when he experienced materialistic life, and then when he came to the other side of the spiritual life, his guru is Swami Chinmayananda, and man, what depth he went into. So it's his extreme life that made him to be so powerful. So he can talk to anybody on anything.
Mala wants to ask, how do you get a positive mindset, especially when you are in a totally negative environment and getting out of the environment is not an option?
Okay, see, now one thing is that whom you can work on, with yourself or with the other? Who's easy to work on, with yourself or with the other?
With oneself, yes.
With yourself, okay. So therefore, it's very important that we constantly keep working on ourselves. Working on ourselves, fill your mind with thoughts of peace, courage, health, hope, and prayer. Make yourself so strong that you are able to bring out on the radiance. And going through this phase right now, whatever phase it is, you will come out very triumphantly. You will thank this phase because this phase of your life helped you to become a better person in life. So therefore, take things as it comes in, but a very responsive manner. Reaction is you act and then think. Response is you think and act. Your thinking and acting might be unpopular, go ahead. Whatever it is, just go ahead and do it very responsibly. Don't become a victim. Don't become a victim because of love. Don't become a victim because of, if there is a moment for you to stand up and respond, you need to stand up and respond because you decided at that point in time, that is what is very important for me. And then that is what is response. So therefore, you might get angry, but is it responsive or is it reactive? A responsive anger is certainly good. Aparesh Acharya was a very angry man. Mahatma Gandhi was a very angry man. Martin Luther was a very angry man. These angers came from the responsive state of the life and not from the reactive state of the life. So therefore, if you feel certain things are not working the way it is, put your leg foot forward because you thought of it and you said, enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. Put your step forward. But if you feel you can give that extra space, please go ahead and give it, but let it be responsive.
How do we reduce anger? Asks Shreyas.
Okay, don't reduce anger. Be aware of your anger. Okay, and anger is an energy. Let me tell you that. If you're angry, you're a man or a woman. Okay, simple as that. Anger is an energy. It's boiling within you. But if you show it on the person, it's going to rebound back to you. That's why in Buddhist scripture it says, hatreds do not cease by hatreds in this world. By love alone they cease. So if you done me something wrong and if I'm angry with you, it's going to come back again. But now that they did me wrong, now my anger is inside, I'm activated. Now can I do something to develop myself? What is that they hurt me for? Can I maximize my potential? Because you'll find you work very, very enthusiastically when you're angry, isn't it? Have you seen that? Okay. So therefore, anger is an activated energy. Don't let it out, but hold it and put it on creative purposes. You certainly will do exceptionally well. So use anger to your advantage. Activated energy. Don't use anger to your disadvantage. Anger becomes danger if you put D in front of anger. Okay. So therefore, anger, if you're feeling angry, be good, man. Great. My daughter gets angry. I'm so glad. Okay. My son gets angry. I'm so glad. Because my son is very docile kind. When he's getting angry, man, great. Okay. These guys have got something in them. We don't want insensitive people. Great things happen only out of anger. Okay. They were angry with the society. And it happened. So therefore, they didn't show it on people, but they created a moment. They made themselves powerful and they went working ahead. Okay. So use anger. Don't misuse anger and land up in trouble. Yes.
Wonderful, 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 Danny. How am I going to thank you? I'm sorry, you're falling short of words to thank you.
Actually, sir, it was very interesting and motivational speech today, Danny, sir. Really feel now the time is very short as we were totally involved in your enthusiastic speech. 1 hour has just passed very sooner and we loved it so much, sir. And few of the points which you are emphasizing and focusing has opened up our blind spots, as you said. And I believe henceforth we will correct it in our journey of this precious life. Just to recalling it, starting from either importance of timings or attitudinal skills, to be a listener first, a smile to show the natural expression, lessons from our failure, either gaining or learning, rather than being as a hard worker, be a smart worker, just and unjust criticism, and admitting to the mistakes. It is going on and on, forgiving ourselves and unconditional love. And final thing is this: accept, adjust, and appreciate. This 3A formula, which you said, will really be a magic in each one's personal life of this or the relation with the society. And I've learned points on parenting too, sir, from your sharings. 1 hour has given so much of mind opening to us. Then the training that you impart to the Miltonians is going to be a great pathway that you lay for their travel in this God's plan. And I'm so blessed that to live under the guidance of Manishankar, sir, and now understand that all these points which he always emphasized on us is because he was the first few who directly got such a wonderful training. It was very helpful to us, sir. Thank you so much for being with us and making this to be our most valuable time. Thank you, sir. And thank you for all.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everybody for being
Thank
part
you.
of it.
Thank you.
And wish you later. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great weekend. Everyone have a great weekend.